Dice Tower People's Choice Top 100 Games of All Time. Dice Tower People's Choice Top 100 Games of All Time.
Hey folks, I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Z Garcia. Hello.
Sam Healy. What's up, folks?
Today we're starting the countdown for the top 100 games of all time according to 2,000 plus of you.
Nice.
Now realize this. These games are fantastic according to the people who voted on them. So if we say, nah, we don't think this should be on the list, that's not a big deal. Every year some people are like, who down there they criticize. And
I know, right?
You know, it's the same thing when we put up our top 100 list. We fully expect you to criticize that.
Yep.
Because you do. Which is fine. That's why we do these lists.
Yes,
So
just
please
in
don't
it.
take this as if we think we're better than you.
Just in our opinion, we have different tastes.
Exactly.
I have to say that because we're jumping off the deep end.
That is important. That is important.
Very.
So here we go. Number 100
Sucks. You're wrong, everyone.
is new to the list. I don't know. We'll say it was nominated, or no, it won the Kennerspiel, I think. That's Isle of Skye.
I'm more like Owl of Goodbye.
Wow.
You try to think of something for everyone here?
Yes. Exactly.
And that's going to get...
I liked Isle of Skye okay. I thought it was fine.
Yeah.
It's just that it's hard for me to play that when I prefer... I know they're not the same, but I just rather play Carcassonne.
Well, I mean, Carcassonne is much lighter. For me, Owl of Sky just ended up
Not
in
the
the
way
middle.
I play it. You see all those promos I got for Carcassonne?
It's still
I had like a
really
200-page
light,
manual.
Yeah, right. I don't know what it is about Owl of Sky that caught on. I think it's a fine little Euro game, but it's somewhere in the pack. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I think it has the the staying power that a Carcassonne had. Not the staying power, but the familiarity with that placement, tile placement, with Carcassonne. But I think on top of that, it adds that bidding, auctioning mechanism that's in there. That makes it interesting. I think it's a cool game.
99 has been on the list for 7 years since we've done this. The highest was 33, but I think it's on its way out, and that's Galaxy Trucker.
About time.
Next year.
About time, man.
Nah, people like it, guys.
I
Deal
know
with
people like it, but people are wrong.
There are actually several CG games on the list here. They're very, very popular.
They are very popular,
Yeah.
but there might be fewer next year.
98 was 44 last year. Was started at 71. It's only been on the list for 3 years. A very popular party game that Cryptozoic can't keep in stock, so that's why it's on its way out. And that's Spyfall.
Oh
Yep.
yeah.
You know, Spyfall could be as big as Codenames, I think.
Yeah, easily.
It really could
It
be.
needs a lot of support.
It really
but
feels like
yes.
it was fumbled here, this
Yes.
launch of Spyfall.
Yes.
Between Hobby World and Cryptozoic.
And the problem with Spyfall is it has lower replayability with the same group unless the support is there, versus a Codenames. I mean, Codenames out of the box, you can play with the same group, assuming you like that game, which you shouldn't. But assuming you do, you can play that game a lot out of the box. Spyfall, you can't really do that. You start seeing the same locations very frequently. Replayability isn't there if they don't inject new content,
I guess.
and they just didn't.
I mean, it comes with 12 different locations?
No,
Comes with a few
than that.
more than that, but
15 different locations or something like that? A whole bunch.
that's
You'd have to play
I think the
that,
game gets better once you know all the locations, because then you're feeling people out. It kind of has a meta game.
maybe.
All right.
I mean, the thing to take away though is don't play Codenames.
97. 97 is Resistance Avalon. Now, we separated this from Resistance because everyone does, and I'm always amazed when I meet someone, they're like, I love Avalon, but I don't like Resistance, or the other way around. Like, you like Resistance, but not Avalon, right?
Well, I don't dislike Avalon, but I don't want to have to talk about both.
Okay, then
Like
we'll
you
move
said,
on.
they're basically the same game.
I know they are, but so many people treat them differently, I have to put them different on the
They
list.
even
It happens
they
every
even
year.
came out with a promo tile for Resistance that makes it Avalon.
Really?
Yeah, you can get that character,
Oh.
and it behaves
Oh,
like the Merlin
the
or
Merlin,
whoever.
yeah.
It's like, come on.
Well, some
it's
people like the
same
theme,
game.
too. I don't know. I'm just saying. Okay, don't blame me.
Man, this
Blame the
list is
people.
Oh,
erroneous.
your fault.
96 is new to the list.
Oh.
None of us have played it, but Jason has. Food Chain Magnet.
Magnate, not magnet. That would be a good game.
I draw all the food.
Burger, come to me. This game looks finished, that's for sure.
Anyway,
I got my troll.
I will play it
turned up to
eventually. All
11.
right, fine. Okay,
I
next one.
apologize in
95. Also new to the list, and I think this will be much higher next year, and that's Zombicide Black Plague. It's really getting a lot of buzz, especially when the orc version comes out.
Yeah.
Do you think it's gonna? Would you combine those two?
The orc one?
Yeah, Green Horde and Black Plague.
Aren't they the same game? I mean, I know. Are they the
Because
same
what I'm
system?
worried about is a lot of people who are
They're
voting
just-
this year for Black
They're
Plague,
just as similar as Avalon and Resistance.
and you split those, human.
Well, no. I mean, I also go by what people vote on, right?
I'm just curious.
Zombicide did not even make the list this year.
No, but that one is like dead and buried.
Well, I wouldn't go
Get
that
it?
far because there's a lot of people who. Wow.
I really think most people who played Black Plague thought, unless they hated the theme, they were like, "This is Zombicide fixed,"
True.
right? Green Horde.
It largely was.
Yeah, Green Horde. What I'm concerned about is it'll steal some of the votes from Black Plague.
If they show up on the same list, well, we'll worry about that next year. All right, 94 is another new one to the list. We'll see where it ends up next year. I'm curious if it will go up or down, and that's Inish.
Cool.
That's on your top 100, right?
Yeah. I just had some people tweet they're people I follow that they hated this game.
Really? Who are these learned people?
Matt Riddle.
Smart. No, you told me about that already. I don't know. You think this is the kind of game that's going to need an expansion to stick around, or is it chewy enough to go the distance?
I don't think it's going to even get an expansion.
No, I don't think so either.
You see it trending up, though?
Well, see, I don't know. I'm so horrible at spotting trends. But,
Yeah.
I'm going to go that it's going to stay in the same place. That because the people who like it really like it.
So what number is it?
94.
So it has to be exactly 94 next
No, I
year.
did not say that nonsense.
That's what
say
you just
in the
said, my
low
man.
90s.
All
That's
right.
about right.
Low 90s.
93 has been on the list for 3 years, and that's another CGE game, Alchemists.
Which I've never played, and I just got a recommendation at the convention we were at that I should play it from someone who said they have the same tastes as me.
That's interesting.
So I'm
Because I always
curious.
wondered if you would like it, because I know you would like the logic part, the
Yeah.
whole using it, figure out things. I'm not sure you would like the bigger game around it.
Right, and it is kind of a long game, right?
It is.
This is one that has had a lot of staying power, I have to say.
Number 92 has been on the list for 5 years. It was 17 3 years ago.
Wow.
And that is Forbidden Desert. Speaking of which,
Oh.
Forbidden Island also was on the list at the beginning, and that's totally
Well, I
gone.
think
Forbidden
it-
Desert, like,
I think it largely
Pile
got
drive
replaced
that
by
one.
Forbidden Desert.
Yes.
Whether it
Yes,
should
yes.
have or not, I think.
well,
both-
Forbidden Desert
both
just was a
games
little bit
have
more
their-
gamey.
Have their place, right? One is more gamer.
This is only going to slowly make its way out. This is slowly bowing out. I mean, there's a lot of competition in the co-op realm anyway.
It does a good job. It
It does a great job. I love it. I think it's a great design. But yeah, it's going to get beat up just by the passage of time. There's no other way.
91 is new to the list, although I think it will be either here or off the list next year, even though I love it, because it's in Dice Tower Essentials, and that's Onitama. First of all, I'm surprised. That's
Yeah.
pretty high for an abstract
is,
game. In fact,
yes.
there's very few abstract games on the list at all. In fact, is that the only one? Maybe not. There might be some other ones, but it's still cool.
Yes.
People are wise.
It's a very good game.
90 is new to the list. We'll see if it stays on next year, because it just won the Spiel des Jahres, and that's King Domino. I did not expect this to show up.
This is on its way out next year.
You think so? You think Queen Domino is going to replace it?
Queen Domino.
I think so. Or maybe I mean I don't know how well that's gonna sell as the 2-punch in that 1-2 punch. I wonder if a lot of people are gonna play King Domino, perhaps be disenchanted by the time Queen Domino comes around, and simply assume it's more of the same, which would be unfortunate. It's not more of the same. I would highly recommend Queen Domino. I mean, I recommend both, but if you played the first and thought, I played this a few times and I'm done, get the second one. It is what you're looking for. But I worry about that.
We'll see. Number 89 is the one game I can guarantee will be off the list next year, even though it's been on for 7 years and started at 19.
Guaranteeing.
Oh, I'm gonna vote this bad boy up.
I know, right?
What is it?
Twilight Imperium 3rd Edition.
I'm lying.
Yeah, it's gone.
No, because I think next year the people who like it will vote for 4th. Not all of them, because there's still
No,
some people who are like,
that's true.
I'm going to die.
Second edition was still the best one, I thought.
You've never. Shut up.
right, but yeah, it's a great game and all, but yeah, it's just a switch. We'll see 4 move up.
I do see there's still a huge groundswell of people out there that are really liking TI3 still, and they don't like the changes that TI4 made. So we'll see.
Here's the main difference. In 6 months when they announced the first expansion, TI4 is back up.
6 months. That's way too long.
All right, number 88
Talking
has been on the list for all 7 years. Betrayal at House on the Hill. Despite the fact that there's broken scenarios, despite the fact that it's super lucky and chaotic, people really like this game.
There's got to be a nostalgia factor working here.
Is there no game that can replace this?
Betrayal at Baldur's Gate?
No, that is the same game, basically. What is it? What is it about this game? The exploration, the like silly Halloween spooky stories?
Maybe.
There's no game that does this?
Dude, but we see this game being played in our own game group. I'll go and see people playing Betrayal at House on the Hill.
I'm just saying, can somebody please add some spooky reading to like Splendor or something? Come on.
All right, 87 is the game. I don't get why it's on the top
Splendor.
100, but it's been there for 6 years, or 5 years, sorry, and that's Hanabi. I like Hanabi well enough. I'm just kind of surprised how much people love Hanabi.
I can only imagine this is a lot of new discovery. I mean, there's a lot of people discovering the game, and it does make a good first impression because what it does well and uniquely. Mm-hmm. I can only assume that this game is going through people very quickly. You know what I mean? Like some people are falling off that wagon, but just as many are introduced to it and do sort of, it lights a light bulb above their head and they go, oh, I like that. Because the replayability is there, but once you figure out the 2 or 3 tricks that you should be able to pull, that you want to be pulling off, you got it, you know?
Yeah.
Number 86 has been on the list for 6 years, and that is Descent 2nd Edition, and then for the year before that, Descent had been on the list.
Okay.
In fact, they were both on the list in 2012, but then Descent is gone.
Of course.
You know, it is what it is. People really like dungeon crawls, and this one, despite, you know, all kinds of new dungeon crawls being released, still holds supreme. Now, they've stopped releasing new content for it, or they're releasing still app content for it, but they've stopped releasing other content, so we'll see what happens.
Curious to see that.
Now the app is a companion app, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
But it adds new scenarios and new things, so. 85 is Seasons. 5 years on the list. Highest was 36. It was 56 last year.
Okay.
I really like Seasons, and I mean, apparently it's a game that's somewhat of an evergreen for people.
It's interesting. It's one of those games that just never really caught on for me.
Me neither.
Number 84 has been on the list for 7 years, and that is The Harbor, also known as La Havre.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Dang.
I see what you did. Man, well, it's what it is. It's not like it's some place in France or something. It is just the harbor.
Here's my impression of Z. Help, I'm under the bus.
Hey, man, we don't often. It's usually you or me who's
I
getting
know, right?
apologized.
I'm getting
We're always
the one
glad
that's-
when it's Z.
Getting tagged.
Yeah!
But this is still one of his most popular games. He comes out with new ones. Glass Road didn't make the list. You know, Fields of Arle didn't make the list. It's possible some of his other games are on the list. But La Havre just holds true. Number 83, 74 last year. It was as high as 21. And that's Mage Knight, the board game.
Wow.
This is one
interesting-
game I haven't even thought about in a solid 2 years.
Easily.
What's interesting, though, is they just came out with the Star Trek version of this WizKids that is essentially the same game.
Right.
No, I didn't see Hydra Tail that one at all. 82 has been on the list for 5 years, started at 19.
Started at 19? Jeez.
Well, this is the same problem Android Netrunner has, and it's X-Wing miniatures.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Right.
Because again, you can play this, and this one is better than Android Netrunner because you can still buy the starter pack and go home and play with your kids or whatever, and have a really good time.
Sure.
It doesn't have that barrier to entry. Android Netrunner is just, you know,
Yes.
it's heavy.
Yes.
X-Wing is not. However, they're also starting to produce ships that only the most diehard people know about at this point, or people who are current, like watch cartoons and stuff.
Yeah, this one's probably going to continue to slip.
81 is on the list because of these two guys talking about it in like every top 10
Really
list.
doubt we're influencing any of these numbers.
No, I
but
think
go-
this
but
one.
go
I
ahead.
think
Seriously doubt
this is
it.
the one I think you guys did influence, and that's Jamaica.
Oh, that is just me. Yeah, I did that.
Well, I was including Sam there.
It's just me. Jamaica. No, Jamaica is just a good game that keeps getting rediscovered because the things it did a few years ago are things that are now finally trending. Things like gorgeous artwork, things like simple rule sets that means it appeals to a ton of people. This was ahead of the curve, man.
Rule sets that unfold on a map.
That's who doesn't want that.
That's right.
Number 80 is new to the list and will probably go higher, and that is Century Spice Road. Very, very popular game.
Yeah.
It's being played, especially when I saw the sequel game to it. I think that this...
Ooh, somebody's got some inside info.
Actually, what happened was I had a meeting with them, and he left the office and it was just sitting there, so I just looked at it. But anyway...
Oh, well, the Gollum edition also, I think, is going to give this a little bit of a bump. A lot of people like that.
But Century Spice Road has sold
Yeah,
tons compared to Gollum has not sold as much because there's not that much on the market.
sure.
Number 79 has been on the list for 7 years, started at 15, and I fear it will fall off the list if it does not get an expansion, which Sam keeps saying it needs stat. What game needs an expansion now from Days of Wonder?
Memoir 44?
That's right. It really does, though, right?
It does.
The game is a great game, but it needs more. It needs those scenarios, or they need to put. Actually, it doesn't even need a new expansion. They just need to get some of the old expansions available.
Is it because all that stuff is out of print?
Not all of it, but a lot of it.
A lot of it is. And unfortunately, some of the coolest stuff is out of print.
Because, I mean, that game does have a ton of stuff out there. It's just not available right now.
Right.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's one of those games it's a war. It simulates war.
It's a war game, for sure.
And it's also a game. So that makes it a war game.
We get this comment every time. It's not a war game. Okay. Anyhow, let's see here. 78's been on the list for 3 years. It was 70 last year. That's Arcadia Quest. I feel like it will hover in this spot because there's people like me who love it. Mm-hmm. There's people who buy it for the miniatures, and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Arcadia Quest is one of those I just did not get. I don't get it, I guess.
It's a great game. 77.
It's basically a war game also.
It's a dungeon crawler for kids.
77 was 93 last year. Is Istanbul. It's interesting that moved higher, though. It doesn't. Games don't normally move in that direction, but this
Not
is
games of that style usually. It did have
like
a couple
this one,
of
right?
expansions. I do enjoy it. It's had some good support out there.
Yeah.
2 different expansions have come out for it. This must have won some kind of award, and I'm not aware because this is the kind of game that would normally not get 2 expansions.
Canada. It won the Canada.
The Canada Spiel?
The
Canada Spiel.
Kenner Spiel.
Canada Spiel awards. Yes.
Did it?
Yes. It
Okay,
did.
well, see, I don't
Don't call
remember.
me a moron when you don't even know.
Canada Spiel.
The Canada Spiel,
Shut
yeah.
up.
Okay, that's what did it then, and that's why it's trending up, I assume, because it's got
But
the
it
support.
won 2 years ago.
Yeah, but especially the Gamers Game Award is going to have that slow burn, long tail.
Yeah.
Now this one you won't believe. This 76 has never been on the list before. In 2011, it was 145. And now, who knows if we'll go up or down next year
Came out of
because
nowhere?
well, it's the 3rd edition of this game.
3rd edition.
And
Fury of Dracula.
it is.
I don't believe you.
I don't believe it.
No, but really, did you imagine that would have been on the list somewhere?
Yeah.
It's never been on the list?
It never has been.
This is
What
the
about
first
2nd
time.
edition?
Okay, good point. Let me look. No, I would have put him over Planet Fury of Dracula.
Okay, that's interesting. What? I say that's a Sam Healy effect.
No, but here's the thing. Now it's out of print again. So,
That's the.
but they just announced. They announced though that they're
Yeah,
bringing
WizKids.
WizKids will bring back that. Of course, WizKids. Will the quality be the same? WizKids.
Who's WizKids?
Whiz Quiz.
They make Quarriors. It's the Quarrior division.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Solid save.
Number 75 was 53 last year and has never been on the list before that, even though it's been out that long. And this is
Okay.
because of a 2nd edition from Fantasy Flight Games, Mission Red Planet.
Nice.
Cool.
That 2nd edition really breathed new life into that
Yeah,
game.
it did.
So I'm glad. 74 is the only, I believe it's the only Richard Brees game on here. Of all the key games,
Oh boy. I know. If I'm not mistaken, Cathedral is his most popular, but it's also one of the oldest.
now Cathedral does not have enough.
It's not enough out there.
Right, there's
Keyflower.
barely any. It's Keyflower. Keyflower is the one that people like. Now I got the new one this year, so I'm hoping that's good.
Keeper or something like
I
that.
think it's called Keeper. Now here's
Is
this.
it?
Yes. No, it's Keyflower is the one that's on this list.
Is it a keeper?
Okay. 73 is the Sam
Thank you,
Healy
Mark.
effect because he has mentioned this in more top 10 lists than most people mention games.
Hercules. Bang the dice game.
This is true.
Bang the Dice Game, which was 67 last year, debuted at 14. That was pretty high.
That's amazing. How many times did you vote on that year? Jeez.
It was him and his whole family.
My finger wore out. Yeah.
All right, but still a great game.
Yeah.
Very light and fun. Number 72 started at 134 and keeps moving up, even though it's been. I don't know. This is weird for me. This is Jaipur. This is a
Got
2.
an app. The app was a slam dunk.
Oh, was it?
It's a great app. I assume that's part of it. The rediscovery with the app of the, whether it got people to play it again physically or some people just simply discovered it for the first time on the app. It's one of those games that took some time to sort of find its base.
Is it unfair to include games that have an app? I mean, it's still a board game.
You tell us in the comments below.
It's still
a fair game? Is that not fair
still
game?
a board game, but you're not.
Well, my grand question is, if you are having a hard time getting the phone to do what you want it to do, and you're kind of having a little bit of a war with it, is it a war game at that point?
Okay, so 71 is Smash Up. Smash
War
Up has
game.
been on the list for 5 years. It was 58 last year. This is one that they do keep injecting life in. They do keep making more factions for it and such.
Right,
and they just released the app, which is pretty solid. So yeah. Number 70 is new to the list. A Feast for Odin. I think this one will drop down as time goes by. I love this game.
Do you think so? This seems like one of the ones that would stick around from Rosenberg.
But it's not so easy to teach new people because you put it down and you're like, all right, here's the deal. You're going to cover this up. Okay, you get the grid part. Great. Now here's 60 different places to put your workers.
Yeah,
I will now
just thinking
explain
about that.
all 60 of them.
Man, that's a lot of places for work.
See, at Agricola and Caverna, at least, they have like 10, and then each turn you add another one, and you can explain that. With Feast for Odin, they're all there right from the get-go.
See, the thing is, I don't know, most of his games feel the same, although they have different things that are going on. I wonder if people will forget Feast of Odin to come to one of his more simpler games.
I don't know. Is Feast for Odin heavier than, say, Caverna?
Yes. I like it, but it's heavier.
I mean, come on, it's like twice as many places to put.
I know,
workers.
but I wasn't sure if...
No, I understand. I mean, it's not
I'll
that
try
much
it,
heavier.
so I
but
can compare them. I'll try it.
You lied. 69, another new one to the list. I'm curious where this will end up in a few years because it's the only game that really requires 8 players to be good.
What number is this?
Number 69.
Ooh.
And that's Captain Sonar.
Captain Sonar.
Now, that didn't even show up last year, even though the game came out last year, but I'm sensing that it's just being played more and more. People when they get together, like, you got to play this. And even though this might not be a game that people play all the time, the experience of it is like one of those you'll remember.
Do you see this trending upward?
I mean, when we were at Essen, I saw people playing it's like no tomorrow, and the game has been out for a while.
Yeah.
I would be curious just to watch this one. This is hard to predict. People might find the experience repetitive, but then again, every time one person teaches it, they teach 7 new people, possibly. Right?
Ooh, interesting. Games where you could propagate through mass.
Yeah, you infect people more
Have you played
quickly.
this game before? Yes. Get out.
I need new blood.
All right, well, let's go through now a pile of older games. 68 has been on, the next 3 have been on the list for 7 years. 68 was 13 when it debuted, but I think because it's almost out of print, and I think they lost the license. Battlestar Galactica. I don't believe Fantasy Flight has a license for this anymore. Maybe they do.
I don't know.
The thing is that the
even in
TV
print? I don't
show
know.
is not really like trending at this point because it's
Right.
been out for a while.
Right.
Still a great game.
They'll rebrand it probably.
67 though was
Think?
No, I don't know.
was 49 last year, and this is one that's been on the list for a while too. Ghost Stories, an older cooperative game that 2 of us like.
Oh, I like the game fine. I just think it's too hard. It's not
okay.
enjoyable in that respect.
Well, here's the one for you then. This one was 51 last year. Has been on the list for 7 years. Shadows over Camelot.
Yeah.
66.
Wow, that's interesting.
Which I always want to bring this stat out when people are like, well, Shadows of Camelot, old game. There's been better cooperative games. We didn't make this list. Y'all
You
did.
did.
Also,
Right.
it's Battlestar Galactica, and then 2 above that, Shadows over Camelot, right?
Well, it's easier to teach Shadows.
I mean,
for
those 2
sure.
are definitely... One is inspired by the other one. There's no question there.
I would imagine.
And Ghost Stories right between them, fighting them both in the face.
That's true. That was 3 cooperative games in a
I
row.
know. That's weird.
Losing to Shadows, by the way.
65 is Zolkin, another CGE game, very popular.
Somebody also told me I would probably enjoy this. What do you think?
See, I
never
didn't like
played
it, but I'm going to go back and play it. I heard the expansion adds variable player powers. I'm going to go in and try because the guys who designed it I love their stuff.
Looks really cool.
Yeah.
It does.
64 is new to the list. Santorini. Oh, yeah, I guess it is another abstract. That might be the highest abstract. I'm going to say it every time I come across a new abstract.
This is the highest abstract.
Just make sure you say that might be the highest.
Yes. Santorini, we've talked about it a fair amount. It's got the look to
Well, this
help
was
it.
in, I think, our top 100, both of us.
I think it might have just been right outside my top 100.
Definitely wasn't mine. I really like the game.
I don't recall.
Love Letter, 63. This one started at 22, went up to 12. Now it's dropping. I think people are just getting a little weary of it, maybe. But I mean, it's still
there's a lot of
high.
competition in that realm.
That's true. 62, the one game that has kept more stores in business than any other.
Magic the Gathering.
Yep. And I mean, it started at 21, 62. I know some people are like, how could it not be higher? For a bunch of board gamers who don't play Magic much, that is extremely high.
Yeah,
that means
this would be like seeing
it.
chess on the list.
You're not going to.
I know, but it would be like that. So if you're surprised it's this quote-unquote low, don't be. This is extremely strong for a game that a lot of people can't even really understand or want to get into, you know?
All right. And the last one for this section of the videos, 61, brand new to the list, Arkham Horror, the card game. And this one I am going to guarantee it's going to go up. For now.
This is only going
It will
up.
eventually it will have a nice trend. It
Gonna
will,
keep
dude.
climbing.
Realize there is a point where it stops climbing.
Nope.
Even if it hits number one. Oh, it's going to go into the negatives at that point? Oh.
-4. So good.
No, this is
We've
definitely
retired it from the list.
this is definitely still trending up, yeah.
Yeah, I think so. But I think all the LCGs are going to have this arc.
They do.
Where they go up and down, and they're going to hit their zenith at some point, because we see that across the board. Android Netrunner, and we'll see what happens.
Well, for something like Android Netrunner, also, someone getting into it right now would look at the game and go, okay, cool, this sounds neat, it's kind of collectible, then look at the backlog and go, oh, I'm so far behind. Is this worth getting into now? Right. And it will lose people along the way for that reason also. It's going to attract fewer new people.
Yeah.
But because this one is cooperative, the Lord of the Rings one lasted longer because of that. Now this one, I'm positive, kicked the Lord of the Rings one off.
I'm fairly certain that's true, yes.
Alrighty, well the grass cutters are here, so we need to end
That's
this.
a chainsaw. That is not grass.
Is that a chainsaw?
That is definitely
Sounds like a
Sounds like a weed
eater.
whacker.
Maybe it's a weed eater.
Or maybe you guys chainsawing the grass. That'd be cool.
I want that.
Anyway, until next time, I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Z Garcia. Thank you.
Sam Healy. See you on the flip side, folks.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.